Good. So this is going to be the vessel for condensing liquid nitrogen, and yeah, it's sort of off the shelf Amazon type thermos flasks. They're all very generic, very good, I should mention. But what I want to be able to do is fill this up with liquid nitrogen, and oxygen actually will. Oxygen boils slightly higher than liquid nitrogen, so you do condense oxygen into liquid nitrogen. But I want my stuff to be pure, so what I need is I want to be able to pump my oxygen through a piece of copper tube that's going to be a coil in there, and during that time it's going to liquefy, and then I want to dump it into a little flask in the middle there. So the little mock-up that I'm going to use, I'm not going to use this for actually condensing the liquid nitrogen, my marmalade tub, but it's just going to be a mock for the scale of these things. So the copper tube's going to go out there, and then I'm going to wrap the copper tube around there, and then have it come out again. So let's see what we can do here. Okay, so I've kind of straightened out the tube. So the tube's going to want to go in the middle there. It needs to bend. That's the general idea. Okay, well, it's ugly as sin, but it is functional. So the gas comes in through there, it's going to cool down as it comes through the tube, then it comes back up this boy here, and it's going to drip in back into the liquid nitrogen container, where it will be caught by a little glass test tube. That's how I'm going to get my liquid oxygen. There's a lot of really inspired guesswork as to if this is going to work or not. That's the oxygen concentrator you can hear going. That's oxygen going through the tube there. So, next question, if it's going to work, it'll work pretty quick. But there's a lot of question about the rates on these things. And getting the rates right is always a bit fiddly. And it's got quite a lot of tube to cool down. Oh, here we go. Yeah, it's going to cool the tube down. It's working! Right, on the manual focus, there he is! That is my liquid oxygen. Comes out in little spurts, just like that. And the oxygen concentrator does 5 litres a minute, so that's 5 grams a minute. So it'll take a while to concentrate out the oxygen. Okay, let's actually try and collect some. See what this does for us. Okay, you've been chuntering away for a little while now. Let's see if we can get this boy out, see what he looks like. So hopefully what will happen here is a little bit of something. Oh, it's quite a lot. And it's nice and blue. Why? Liquid oxygen. Yeah, that's not bad. Not bad, right. So oxygen should be attracted by a magnet. Let's try it on this side. Oh, look at that! That's so cool. No, it's paramagnetic. It's a weird property of liquid oxygen. Anyway, cool. So, we made some liquid oxygen. Excellent. All quite doable.
Okay, so you might be wondering why I didn't just use liquid oxygen in the first place. Well, it's a few reasons. The first one is liquid oxygen is much harder to come by. The main reason, of course, being that liquid nitrogen is mainly used to make things cold. And whilst liquid oxygen will do the same role, liquid oxygen is also a horrific safety hazard in that things burn phenomenally well in liquid oxygen. So having 20 litres of the stuff around or something is just a needless hazard. So yeah, if you can avoid it, you avoid liquid oxygen. So small amounts of it is not such a problem. So me here, I'm using my oxygen concentrator, which does more or less exactly what you think it does. It takes your air and concentrates the oxygen from about 20% to about 90%, which is fantastic. And the nice thing about the oxygen concentrators is that it's all done in situ. So you don't have the hazard of like 20 litres of liquid oxygen kicking around or high pressure oxygen. You don't have any of those hazards with oxygen concentrators. So they're quite regularly used in places like hospitals and the such like. I use them for glass blowing. For glass blowing, they're fantastic. Like I was saying, it's a nice way of getting fairly pure oxygen, fairly decent pressure of oxygen, but without the hazards of high pressure gases or liquefied oxygen. And the reason I'm condensing it the way I'm condensing it, if I try and condense the oxygen directly out of the air, it'll work just fine. The downside is that the air you're breathing is about 4/5 nitrogen. So 4/5 of your energy just goes down to cooling down the nitrogen in the air such that you can condense the 1/5 of oxygen in the air. Whereas, of course, if I use my oxygen concentrator, it's basically pure oxygen going in there, and that's what's liquefied. So that's why I went this way and not another way. Anyway, it looks like it's going to work, so that's all. Anyway, if you enjoyed that, give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing.